Hi everyone, welcome to Marla Miller's Marketing the Muse author series. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with Claire LaZebnik. Her new novel, If You Lived Here, You'd Be Home Now, is coming out in a couple of days. By the time you guys see this, you'll be able to buy it. It is her fourth novel and her sixth or seventh book. She's done nonfiction as well as fiction. She's published in adult fiction, and Claire's going to tell us a little bit about a book that she's working on now in the YA market. So, Claire, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For coming on. Okay, so if you lived here, and I want to put this here so because remember that we're always, I mean, what I tell subscribers and all of my workshop people is that if you're not going to sell yourself, nobody else will. So, and I'm not shy. My sense is that from working with writers for the last 20 years is that many writers are, we're shy. We're introverts. We like to be at home on our computers.
Yeah.
So you have had a history of, how long have you been published? Your first book was when?
I think 2003.
One of the things that I love about your story is that you have done this and also mothered 4 children.
Right.
And I think that that just really, it's so inspiring for women who've made decisions to have children and then also want to, keep their foot in their career, and you're able to do it, obviously.
Right.
In 2003, when your first book came out, what was the title of that one?
Sorry, Same as It Never Was.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Now, that was 7 years ago. You've written 6 books in that time. Way back in 2003, if you can recall, what were your expectations being a first-time published novelist? What did you think you would have to do?
I thought I wouldn't really have to do anything, and I didn't want to do anything. I mean, no, that's not true. I thought I'd do a book tour. I'd seen movies where people go on those whirlwind book tours where, they're being ushered by handlers. Yes, very sexy, crowded bookstores where people are lining up to get that
Sure.
kind of thing. And I was published by a place where, I was warned they publish a lot of young authors, throw it out there, and if something sticks, terrific, but if it doesn't, they don't put any extra money into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I soon realized that meant,
that was you.
that was it.
And so when you realized that the house wasn't going to help you much, do you remember maybe 1 or 2 things that you did to promote yourself and promote your book?
With that very first novel, it's funny because with the next novel I really did go out of my way to try to find a strategy. With that one,
was that called Live and Learn?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think the first novel really didn't do well at all, and I didn't realize how badly until I sold the next novel, and my agent said to me, we almost didn't, you almost were done.
What did you do differently the second time around that you didn't do the first time around, but learned from your first experience?
Well, this was interesting because, my second novel was called Knitting Under the Influence, and it's about a knitting club.
Great title.
And I decided to try to, everybody's in bookstores. Everybody's going to the bookstores doing book signings. People are sick of those, and I thought, well, what could I do that would be different? And it's knitting. So I went to a couple of yarn stores and set up knit and read sessions.
And tell me what year that was.
Oh, you're really testing me. I want to say 2006.
Okay, so
Not
you already were starting to cross-brand yourself because you knew that you had a book, but you also had a market that had nothing to do with literature, and you got in that market. Were you advised to do that? I'm trying to remember, and that does remind me that I did hire for both the first 2 novels. I tried hiring outside publicists, which I completely blanked on until this moment. That ended up, the second one I worked with to get into these knitting stores, so I don't know, I can't remember, I honestly can't remember whose idea it was first to try that out, to try a different, I think a friend of mine who had been published had good luck going into department stores because it was tied into the fashion somehow. Absolutely.
And so she did that, and she said, if you can find a place that's not a bookstore that would be willing to showcase you, those people are so much more excited about seeing an author than the people who are going to book signings all day long.
And so then you went to knitting stores. Did you then reach out to the knitting community across the country? through the internet?
I did some. You know,
Okay.
I think I tried emailing.
Okay.
You know, sending out emails.
Yeah.
I had little tape measures that you could use in knitting,
Good.
made up with the name of the book on it, and
Very
I gave those
cute.
away very freely and mailed them out. You know, I probably could have done even more of it, and certainly today the internet is even more of a tool than it was, you know, 7 years ago.
Nonfiction tends to sell better than fiction. Your strategy, did it change? Did it shift? Did it?
The nonfiction was really different because I had a built-in sales person, and that's not quite the right word, and my co-author who goes to conferences. She, you know, she's very well known in the autism community. She runs and attends a lot of conferences. So she is always reaching out to to our readers in that way. So I haven't had to do as much. I've spoken a little bit, did a couple of radio interviews, and people, because autism has been a little bit of a hot topic.
It sure has.
With the first book, we had a certain amount of, you know, people coming to us, not as much as we would have liked, but some. And like I said, she would go to conferences and make sure the books were sold there and that you know, and talk about them. With the second book, it's been a little harder because we didn't put autism in the title, and in some ways I regret it. I regret it. Yeah, it's in the subtitle, but it's not in the title.
You found quite a bit of difference between selling fiction and nonfiction. You also had a co-author.
That made a huge difference. Who's used to speaking in public, which I'm not.
I think that you've identified yourself as a fairly quiet person. You're not the first one to get up on the dance floor and do your...
Exactly.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So how hard do you have to push yourself to get past that wall?
You know, somebody once told me there's a difference between someone who's shy and someone who's an introvert, you know, and someone who's shy has real, I think there's a definition, has real trouble actually talking with people out in public, and someone who's an introvert can do it with no problem but doesn't want to.
Got it.
And that's definitely more me.
Okay.
You know, I have a lot of anxiety about it, but if I do it, I do it. You know, I get through it, you know, and I, on some level, I enjoy talking. I don't like selling. I'm, you know, I'm from the East Coast. It's sort of that Yankee mentality of people should discover you. You shouldn't boast about yourself.
And so how do you reconcile that?
You know,
with this book, what are you planning to do if you lived here, you'd be home by now, with this book that you haven't done with any other book? Or do you have something in your bag of tricks that you're going to pull out for this?
It's funny because using the internet more. I'm trying very hard to build some community with my readers, past and present, you know, and encourage them to share their enthusiasm if they like it. And you know, I'm sort of trying to go that way. But I'm still doing, you know, I'm doing the book signings and hoping people will come to that. And if people ask me to speak, I rarely turn it down.